self-love. Let's get into it. It's Razzie, it's your girl. I'm back with a new video, and today we're gonna just go into a question that I got from one of my followers slash friends from Instagram. If you don't follow me there, look at the description below to find my Instagram and follow me, where you can like interact with me more, leave me questions of things that you want to see, or just leave them in the comments below. And this is a question that I felt was really good for now, and to just give you my personal opinion on what self-love looks like and how do you actually get there. What are the actual steps that you need to take? So the original question I got was, how do we feel more self-love in these times when everything may feel discouraging slash growing? And what I get from that is, one major thing. We are in this state of growth, major new foundations being built, right? New establishments for us to start over in a very monumentous way, because the North Node is in Taurus and Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus, the planet of lightning fast change, the planet of unexpected circumstances, right? And innovation and revolution. That planet is with the North Node, which is where we are focused on growing. And it's in the sign of growing, which is Taurus. It's a very earthy, grounded sign that has a lot to do with our values, who we are. So self-love is definitely going to come up in that topic. And whenever we talk about the North Node, we have to talk about the South Node, because the South Node is opposite of Taurus. It's in Scorpio. And Scorpio themes are about transformation. It's about going and doing the shadow work. It's about all of the things that you do that you don't show other people, right? And a lot of that sometimes is the way we hate on ourselves. The biggest hater sometimes can be you, just because you don't believe in yourself. You may not like what you see when you look in the mirror, and you may not see that you have potential. You might not be even tapped into that potential. You think there's always someone else who's doing something better than you, so why should you be the one to do what you're doing? And self-love and self-hate can really kind of show up in so many different ways in our lives. Now, how do we deal with that? What truly is even self-love? Self-love, when you're really tapped into it, which is a base state that we want to have for ourselves, which gives you a baseline of confidence, of encouragement and positivity. It changes the way that you project your image to others. It changes the way you interact with people on a day-to-day basis, right? It changes so many parts of your life. It changes what you want to do and how you go about getting the things that you want. And we really want to disconnect in a lot of ways right now from the harsh realities, that we're seeing being played out around the world, and maybe sometimes in our own life. Now, the truth is, with self-love does not change the fact that you're going to go through hardships. It doesn't change the fact that you will have times that feel sad and much more depressive than others. It doesn't change that you're going to go through pain, right? Self-love is not a miracle, but what it does, it allows you to bounce back. It allows you to respect the times that do not feel good, because the times that we're in pain and we need to sit in that shadow and we need to let go of heavy emotions, that time is not for us to hate on ourselves as if there is something wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. So that's the number one reminder that I want to give y'all through these times. It doesn't matter if you are checking off the goals on your list or you're stagnant and not really seeing the growth as you want to. When you are in a state of love for yourself, it doesn't matter where you're at along that timeline, because you already know all those things are going to happen. You're going to constantly cycle between that. So wherever you are, the least you can do is love who you are, right? And love where you are. Now, my biggest practice in all the work, in all of my astrology sessions, the meaning, the purpose behind what I want to give back to the world is the understanding of being here now. How do we be here now? It's a really funny concept, and it's so simple, but it's so funny because we are looking for answers and ways of how to be here right now, because it's like somehow we're always somewhere else, but the truth is you're actually nowhere else. That's the illusion. And the only truth is that you're here right now. And what are you doing with that time? Now, self-love goes hand in hand with being here right now, because if you hate yourself, you don't want to be here. You always project yourself into the future. You always project yourself onto others. If you hate yourself, you're always scrolling, comparing yourself to someone else. And without a deep root in love for every follicle and fiber and atom of your own body, every function and thought of your brain, if you don't love your ego, if you don't love your dark side, if you don't love the things that you have to say, if you don't love the dreams and the visions that are coming to you, then you cannot just be here. It's hard to just exist. And maybe that comes from deep roots in childhood with parents or friends, or, you know, being abandoned and being hurt and trauma. And this is where the self-love practice begins, right? Because I see it as a reprogramming. We, of course, have to push this into our brain so we can push out what isn't actually working, right? We are the coders to our own mind unless we allow the rest of the world and everyone else to code our mind for us. So we're taking control back and taking our power back with loving ourselves. The first step is always to identify the feeling of what you are going through. That could be deep depression. That can be sadness in loss. That can be heartbreak, right? It can even be anxiety and frustration and deep rage and anger. Any of the things that you're feeling, you need to be able to identify it first. That is the first thing, right? You don't just go from to I love myself, I love myself, I love myself in the mirror. You can try, but it's gonna seem foolish. It's not gonna feel right because you're not giving yourself a reason to feel that way, and you're not actually loving yourself because you're saying, I don't want to feel this other way. So one of the huge things is to identify the feeling and then accept that feeling by leaning into it, right? By addressing the feeling, by giving that feeling some room to be, to exist, because that is such a part of who we are. So if you are stressed, you have to be able to voice that, right? You have to be able to at least voice it to yourself, write it down. I am stressed. I am pissed off. I am sad. And state that feeling out loud. You know, if you're by yourself or you're talking to someone else, if you have a good friend that just listens to you, or your therapist, or, you know, come get a reading with me, we can work on that. Like, you need to be in the presence, either with someone holding space for you or you holding space for yourself in the form of writing and whatever else, right? So that you can truly accept yourself for who you are, because that is the key to self-love. You have to accept every bit of pain, You have to accept the version of you that is insecure, that is telling you that you need to be better, right? Because there's that character that lives within us. And that version of us also just wants to be loved, right? So we can't shun that part of ourselves, but we have to embrace that part of ourselves. So embracing the feeling by identifying it and then addressing it, stating it out loud. Then what do we do from that point on, right? After that, you have to use your tools. Whatever your tool box has in store, right? I take it that if you're looking at this video, then you have at least a few things in there. Maybe it's yoga or breath work or astrology or even just, readings on the internet. Whatever it is that is your toolbox, after you address your feeling, after it is, and you can say to yourself, I accept myself for this. I accept that I'm angry and I'm pissed off at this person and I can't get it off of my mind and I don't know why. And no, I don't want to feel this way, but I do accept the fact that I feel this way, right? Then you, of course, like I said, want to get to your toolbox. Now, some of the things I really, truly recommend is if you're in a deep state of needing to practice this self-love much more intensely, then you need to do things like breath work every day, seriously. You need to take breaks and you need to slow down. Because once again, the underlying thing that we're trying to get to is being here now, right? Is understanding how simple and absurd and ridiculous, but how beautiful and magnificent that place is. So if you can stop scrolling and take a social media break, then do so, because there's so much news happening. And trust me, if the news is that important, it will reach your ears. We have so many connections and friends and family. Everywhere we turn, we're gonna find out what we need to find out if we need to find it out. So you have to trust that, right? You have to trust that the news is gonna come to you. You don't need to go searching for everything wrong in the world constantly all day long. It truly is not gonna help you, right? So if you can't stop scrolling because you need to be online for business or you're a content creator, then use your platform wisely, right? Clean it up. Clean up your feed. Get rid of or mute people that you know are not going to benefit your mind, that are not going to feed you with like a good reflection of who you want to be. And start adding to your feed reminders. Use it as a mantra board, right? As an offering to yourself by keeping it strict to what you really want to feel and see, right? Also, a really great tool though, honestly, is being super transparent and unapologetic, right? So if you can, and I'm always an advocate for this, if you can get online and if you have, some kind of social media, and even if you only have 2 followers though, and you use your platform to accept what you're feeling, like going back to that first step of identifying and then accepting, do so. Accept how you're feeling in front of others, right? Allow yourself to be vulnerable in front of the world. There's no other quicker way to kind of get to that place where you just love yourself and you don't care about how other people are going to perceive that, because you know deep down that they're all going through the same thing. We have to remind ourselves of that always. People can have whatever image they want to, but we are all going through this together. So if you can use your platform as a almost out loud, very public, vulnerable diary, I applaud you, because it is going to help you break through all these layers of who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to act in order to really get to a place where you're just being authentic and you can let it go. Because the best way to let something go is to do something in front of others that you might deem almost embarrassing, or like, oh my God, why did I do that? And then you're like, you know what? Nobody cares anymore 2 days later because something else is trending and somebody else's life is more dramatic, and no one truly cares. Everyone is so hyper focused on themselves that all they're there for is to find themselves in everyone else. And so what you're also going to find when you do that practice is all the people that relate to you, is all the beautiful words. I promise you, you will receive some of people thanking you for being honest and sending you love just in what you're going through, because maybe they've gone through it or whatever the case may be. And you might start some really good conversations that allow you to bridge this gap of, you know, who you're not and who you are, and being here, being present, because there's nothing like being vulnerable to make you be present. So then, of course, the other tools are always going to be, for me, nature. You do have to get out and remind yourself of the natural rhythm. And that means you accept nature for what it is. If it's blazing hot or it's downpouring outside, you want to step outside and be a part of that. Go stand in the rain, you know, go get some sun, go sit with a tree. I know that might sound real hippie to some, but if you can only understand the power of nature, and the only way you understand it is by observing it, about sitting outside by yourself and being reflective and being contemplative, that's one of the greatest tools as well. So I am sad. Why? Where's the sadness coming from? What is it doing to me? What is it holding me back from? Where did it start? Where did it begin? You know, and really being reflective with yourself. So of course journaling is there too. And so many tools, sound bowls and Reiki. And if you have more money at your disposal, yes, go get some sessions with people, get therapy, because talking it out is so crucial. We have this chakra for a reason, and we underuse it a lot of the times, or we misuse it by just lying, right? So in order to love yourself, if you truly love yourself, ask yourself this: are you going to be lying about your life? If you truly love yourself, it's not because what's around you is perfect. And I know you all know people like this, people who show this love for themselves, but it's not because they have millions of dollars or luxury things. It's not because they are the flyest and the most popular. There are people who just love themselves because, once again, they exist and they know who they are, right? And when you know who you are and you love yourself, once again, you are forever existing in the now, right now. And that's all you'll ever do. So most of the problems are like, whatever, because you know we're going to get over this, we're going to get through to this. It's only a matter of time, right? So then after you lean into this and you use your tools, you meditate, you light some incense, you sit with a candle, you clean your altar, you clean your room, whatever the tool is for you, you take a long bath and a shower, you spend time alone. I love spending time alone when I'm feeling like this. I disconnect myself a lot, but then at the same time, I also know that there's other times where taking myself and going to spend time with my friends and not talking about my problems helps too, because if I've been talking about that problem too much, then what really helps is to like kind of just go have a new experience, right? And go be around friends and let their energy kind of rub off on me. So, you know, if you have people like that, then I advise you can do that as well. You do have to understand yourself once again in order to tap in and reprogram this state of love consciously and fully. But then the last step would be now to actually practice the love of self. And that is different than using these tools to center yourself, right? Because most of these tools are not here to reprogram the fact that you love yourself. It's more here to like get you out of those feelings, or allow those feelings to pass, really, because we're not like getting out of it, but we're allowing that feeling, which is like water, to settle within us through the tools. And then we want to practice actual self-love, and that is going to be your mirror work. That is going to be dressing up on a day that you don't feel like it, and you know, putting yourself in the feeling and the mode of that Venusian beauty, elegant grace type of energy. And you know, you need to identify the feelings first, because if you try to just do that, once again, if you try to just dress up, you might be like, oh, I'm ugly, I hate myself, right? So if you're not like taking the break from scrolling, then you can't really truly do this with the intention that you need to have. And you know, dancing is going to be one of those things. Projects, if you have projects that you're working on, really spending time with that work, with your art, will of course help. Dreaming now, visualizing things that you want to see, things that you want to do, a trip in the future, not in a state of, you know, wanting and craving it to happen as if it's going to solve your problem. This is more like, oh, I can't wait to have a house of my own and buy this furniture and decorate it like this, and you know, make the backyard look like this, and get these lights, and whatever the case may be. You can work on even a project of doing these things with yourself. You can work on like creating your future, kind of like vision boarding, but you can do it however you want. You can just paint a picture that's abstract and say, like, you know, put your intentions in that abstract piece of art of the love of what it really looks like when you love yourself, and counting your blessings. This is a big, great practice for self-love. If you can do this every single day, after you have identified your feeling for the day, you have taken out at least a few minutes to address that feeling and lean in. When it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be there for hours, right? You can make this work for you. We're all on different schedules. So take those few minutes out, and then you use this practice every single day to count your blessings. Just number a list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Write down 10 blessings for the day. And then tomorrow, add to that list 11 through whatever, and keep adding. Every single day, count new blessings. The more you do it, the more the state of gratefulness for who you are becomes apparent, because you start realizing how much you are actually thankful for, how much is working in your life, how much is going right. And with all of the things going wrong, you have to be thankful for something, right? Because you could be in a place where you don't even have the opportunity to get out of the hole. You could be so deeply entrenched in the hole that, you know, you're just oblivious to even anything good. But if you are wanting to do this practice, it's because there are some things in your life that are good. There is something in your life that anchors you down. And you need to keep finding those things every single day. You cannot live a day of your life without doing this, because it's easy to become petty. It's easy to become forgetful and pessimistic, right? But this is about counting the blessings of the resources you have. And then every day you'll find something new happen that you can be grateful for, and then you can talk about it in your blessings for the next day. I'm grateful I had a friend that bought my lunch. I'm grateful that when I was driving to work, this person let me cut in front of them, or I would have missed my exit. You know, it's the smallest, littlest things that when you start to put love out and express love in general, it's easier to express it to yourself. So outside of counting your blessings, you do want to practice that love for others. You want to go online just to like people's photos and to compliment them. I promise you this. If you start changing your perspective online and in life, right? Smiling at someone just because. Now, I'm from New York, so I don't like to smile at everybody. They are some creeps. That's why I suggest doing this online, just a little safer. Looking at people's stories and liking them, you know, reaching out, leaving a message, hitting up an old family member just to say hi and just to say you love them. Literally showing that love consciously every single day and counting your blessings, that alone will bring you to a place where you love yourself, because it forces you to get into this place where you're always searching and thinking and feeling appreciative, right? So how can you not be love when you are always acting out of love? And then those days where you have the anger and the overthinking and the whatever the case may be, once again, you take a break, you take a pause, and you go through these steps again. You identify that feeling, you accept that feeling in yourself. Even when you see that behavior in someone else, one of the hacks is also to just say, okay, I accept that that person is angry, that I cut them off. I accept that that person is angry or like mad at me or sad because of something I did to them. Right? Instead of being like, how could you be mad or sad or whatever? It's because sometimes we play off of other people's emotions way too much. So we want to give other people emotions to play off of that are in love, rooted in kindness, rooted in happiness. It's really not hard to do. All this is about is discipline. All this is about is consistency. Just like any of the best things in your life, you have worked for it somehow, even unconsciously. And we want this to be a practice that is unconscious. So before you know it, you're not trying to count your blessings, you just do. You talk to someone and you're like, oh yeah, I'm so grateful today. On my walk, I found like $5 on the floor. I'm so happy that I got to see, my stray cat pet while going home. Whatever the case may be. It just becomes so subconscious. You just start speaking it and living it and being it. And you don't really worry about what's happening on the other side of the world, because your self-love for yourself ripples out further and farther than any of the fear and the anxiety and the worrying and the doubt will. So I'm going to leave that there. I hope that some of this helps you. If you have other ways that you want to share with the community on how to practice self-love, put them down below. Subscribe to me if you aren't. I still am trying to reach a place where I can give you guys cosmic check-ins every single week where I talk about the astrology, because there's a lot going on right now. All right, we're heading into the end of July of 2022, if you don't know what year this is. And we're going to have a conjunction with Uranus in the North Node, like I kind of talked about earlier. So I'll be uploading more. If you want astro videos, if you want a series of some sort, let me know and I'll be back. Peace.